Hello everyone, Happy New Year! Welcome back, and if you are new, thanks so much for checking out my channel. Please hit subscribe and stick around. Today I am going to be doing the Best Book Awards for 2022 from the 136 books that I read in 2022, not necessarily published in 2022. I rated 23 books 5 stars, so most, if not all of them, will show up in this video. And this is inspired by Gemma from Gem of Books, because I saw her do something like this last year, and I thought it was very clever, a much better way of celebrating the great books. And I've also seen other people, since then do this kind of thing instead of limiting themselves to a top 5 or top 10, although I like those too. I found whenever I did a top 10, I was missing genres and important books that, I thought should be mentioned. So today I have quite a few awards to give out. I've also done my best, and I think I managed it, to not duplicate winners. So there are definitely duplications in the nominations. The nominations are my top 3 books in a given category, but a book only wins once. So let's get started. I read some great books this year, many of them with beautiful covers, so we will start there. The nominees for Best Book Cover are Son of the House by Chiluchi Onyemalukwe Onuobia, We Measure the Earth with Our Bodies by Serings Yangsam Lama, Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Booley. And the winner of the Best Book Cover goes to We Measure the Earth with Our Bodies by Sering Yangsam Lama. I just love this cover. Now, we all know the saying, you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but I have to admit that sometimes I see the covers of books and I think, is that all you got? That's what you came up with. So up next are the books that I thought could have used a little more thought and creativity. The nominees for Worst Book Cover are The Mirror and the Light by Hilary Mantel, Burning Questions by Margaret Atwood, You Love Me by Caroline Kepnes. I mean, just look at those. And the winner of the worst book cover goes to Burning Questions by Margaret Atwood. I mean, really, that's all you got, orange and pink flames. Okay, next is Best Setting. The books I read this year have had some interesting settings. The nominees for Best Setting are Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, which is set in space. The Shining by Stephen King, set at the Overlook Hotel in Colorado. Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, which is set in an endless labyrinth. And the winner of the Best Setting is The Shining by Stephen King. I love when places or objects become a character. And in this story, that happens, and it is definitely the case with the Overlook Hotel. The next category, I had some of your help. I put out 3 polls to help me come up with these nominees, and then I chose the winner from your votes. So thanks to all of you who voted. The nominees for Best First Line are From the Mirror and the Light by Hilary Mantel, Once the Queen's Head is Severed, He Walks Away. From the Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, Killing someone is easy, hiding the body is usually the hard part. From Dark Roads by Chevy Stevens, No one ever wakes up thinking, I'm going to die on a dark road. Once again, this could go to any of them, but the winner of the Best First Line goes to The Mirror and the Light by Hilary Mantel. I also find it interesting that all 3 lines had to do with death. So if you are a writer, beginning with death seems to be fairly successful. Next up is the most disappointing. This is not necessarily the worst books. Rather, they are books that I had high expectations for, and they didn't hit the mark. In fact, they fell well below the mark. The nominees for most disappointing are Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi, Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo, Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And the winner of the most disappointing is Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I still can't believe that I didn't love this book. We now go to the other end of the spectrum for most surprising. These were books that went above and beyond my expectations. The nominees for most surprising are Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides, The Talented Mr. Ripley by Patricia Highsmith, The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. And the winner of the most surprising goes to Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides. The next category is Best New to Me Author. These are authors that I read for the first time this year, and I know that I will read more by them. And the nominees for Best New to Me Author are Patricia Highsmith, author of The Talented Mr. Ripley, Sally Hepworth, author of The Good Sister and The Mother-in-Law, Rachel Joyce, author of Miss Benson's Beetle. The winner for Best New to Me Author goes to Sally Hepworth. I already read 2 of her books this year, and I have another one on the way, so it had to go to her. Next up is Best Debut, which is for a debut book from an author that I read this year. The nominees for Best Debut are Daughters of the Deer by Danielle Daniel, Scarborough by Catherine Hernandez, The Maid by Nita Prose. Again, all 3 of these were really good contenders for sure. The winner of the Best Debut goes to The Maid by Nita Prose. Next, we will do the Best Characters. First up are the nominees for Best Leading Female Character. Britt Marie from Britt Marie Was Here by Frederick Backman, Molly from The Maid by Nita Prose, Marjorie Benson from Miss Benson's Beetle by Rachel Joyce. The winner of the Best Leading Female Character is Britt Marie from Britt Marie Was Here by Frederick Backman. Now for the nominees of the Best Leading Male Character. Tom Ripley from The Talented Mr. Ripley by Patricia Highsmith, Joe Goldberg from You Love Me by Caroline Kepnes, Mungo from Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart. And the winner of Best Leading Male Character is Joe Goldberg from You Love Me by Caroline Kepnes. You all know he's my favorite psychopath. Next is the category for Best Supporting Character. The nominees are Enid from Miss Benson's Beetle by Rachel Joyce, Mimi from Indians on Vacation by Thomas King, Rocky from Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. The winner for Best Supporting Character is Enid from Miss Benson's Beetle by Rachel Joyce. The next category is Best Cast of Characters. The nominees are Scarborough by Catherine Hernandez, whose cast of characters are mostly young people from low-income families and a culturally diverse neighborhood in Toronto. Ragged Company by Richard Wagamese, whose cast of characters are homeless people who find a winning lottery ticket. City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert, whose cast of characters are an eclectic group of showgirls and theater people. The winner for Best Cast of Characters goes to City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. In 2022, I read 8 picture books, which is probably 7 or 8 more than usual for me. And this is thanks to the Picture This readathon that Shelly from Shelly Swearingen's Library and Jack from Spread Book Joy hosted, along with a few publishers who sent me some lovely picture books. The nominees for Best Picture Book are The Stone Thrower by J.L. Richardson, The Darkest Dark by Chris Hadfield, Ben the Sea Lion by Roy Henry Vickers. The winner of the Best Picture Book is The Darkest Dark by Chris Hadfield, plus it glows in the dark, so it's so much fun. I didn't read as much poetry this year, but what I did read was really good. The nominees for Best Poetry Collection are Friends Without Bodies by Brendan MacLeod, Scars and Stars by Jessie Thistle, White Mud Walking by Matthew James Wagle. Any of these could have taken this, actually. The winner for Best Poetry Collection goes to Scars and Stars by Jessie Thistle. Next up is the category for Best Short Fiction or Short Story Collection. The nominees are Lesser Known Monsters of the 21st Century by Kim Fu, The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Disha Filia, A Dream of a Woman by Casey Plett. The winner for Best Short Fiction, hands down for me, goes to Lesser Known Monsters of the 21st Century by Kim Fu. I read 19 books from series in 2022, which I think is a new record for me, and only 3 received 5 stars. So the nominees for Best Book from a Series are Happily Ever After Playlist by Abby Jimenez, The Talented Mr. Ripley by Patricia Highsmith, Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. The winner for Best Book in a Series goes to Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. For this next category, I chose only books that were part of the BookTube prize, even though I read other books in translation. So the nominees for Best Translated Novel are Magma by Thora Jorleifsdottir, translated from the Icelandic by Meg Matic. Khalil by Yasmina Kadra, translated from the French by John Cullen. How to Order the Universe by Maria Jose Ferrada, translated from the Spanish by Elizabeth Breyer. The winner of Best Translated Novel is Khalil by Yasmina Kadra, translated from the French by John Cullen. The next category is Best Romance. The nominees for Best Romance is Undercover Bromance by Alyssa K. Adams, One to Watch by Kate Stamen London, The Happy Ever After Playlist by Abby Jimenez, and the winner for Best Romance is The Happy Ever After Playlist by Abby Jimenez. Now for Best Classic. The nominees for Best Classic are Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes, The Sea by Iris Murdoch, 12 Years a Slave by Solomon Northup. The winner for Best Classic is probably no surprise to anyone that this goes to Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. The nominees for Best Indigenous Story are Ragged Company by Richard Wagamese, All the Quiet Places by Brian Thomas Isaac, Daughters of the Deer by Danielle Daniel, and the winner for Best Indigenous Story is Daughters of the Deer by Danielle Daniel. Now we go to the category of Best Historical Fiction. The nominees for Best Historical Fiction are The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna, Half-Blood Blues by Essie Adujan, Haven by Emma Donoghue, and the winner for Best Historical Fiction goes to The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. The next category is Best Thriller. The nominees for Best Thriller are The Mother-in-Law by Sally Hepworth, The Talented Mr. Ripley by Patricia Highsmith, The Maid by Nita Prose. The winner for Best Thriller is The Talented Mr. Ripley by Patricia Highsmith. The next award goes to Best Biography. The nominees are Buffy St. Marie by Andrea Warner, Red Comet, The Short Life and Blazing Art of Sylvia Plath by Heather Clark, Wild, The Life of Peter Beard by Graham Boynton. The winner for Best Biography is Red Comet, The Short Life and Blazing Art of Sylvia Plath by Heather Clark. Next up is Best Autobiography or Memoir, and the nominees are Chasing Rivers by Tamar Globerman, All In by Billie Jean King, Anne Frank Remembered by Miep Gies. And the winner for Best Autobiography or Memoir is Chasing Rivers by Tamar Globerman. The nominees for Best Nonfiction are The Betrayal of Anne Frank by Rosemary Sullivan, Rwanda Inc. by Patricia Crisafulli, Driven, The Secret Lives of Taxi Drivers by Marcello Di Cintio. The winner for Best Nonfiction is The Betrayal of Anne Frank by Rosemary Sullivan. The final category is Best Book of the Year. This is the only category that has more than 3 nominees, so if you are paying close attention, you will see my top 9 books of 2022. The nominees for Best Book of 2022 are Flowers for Algernon by Danielle Keyes, The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna, The Maid by Nita Prose, Daughters of the Deer by Danielle Daniel, Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides, Ragged Company by Richard Wagamese, Scarborough by Catherine Hernandez, City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert, Britt Marie Was Here by Frederick Backman. And the winner for my best book of 2022 is Ragged Company by Richard Wagamese. This was such an incredible book. I still think about it. Such great characters, incredible writing, and a really interesting story. 2022 was a good reading year. Let me know if you have read any of these winners, and let me know what your top books of 2022 have been. Do we have any the same, any that are very different? I look forward to another great year of reading along with all of you, and I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate it very much and hope we will have many more reading adventures in 2023. Enjoy the rest of your day and don't forget to make every day an adventure.